Hello, fellow YouTubers, and I am back live. Um, there is a terribly bad glare, so I apologize. But I am coming back to you with another video, and one that's had people mildly curious um, about Liam Neeson's new film, Cold Pursuit. Now, before we get started, funny story. This movie has gotten a lot of press, but not in a good way. Liam Neeson apparently made some offensive comments and he made a lot of people upset, which I think made the people wanted to see the movie more. Now, I'm gonna start off with telling you how the movie is. I'm gonna give a general overview. I'm going to give you some pros, cons, and then I'm going to get down to the review. So, first off, um, the overview of the movie is kind of weird. The movie takes place in Colorado, which is a weird setting. I haven't seen it done in a film, and it's in like the snowy, rocky part of Colorado. There are two factions warring. Get this, Native American drug dealers, which I've never seen in a film, and Italian drug dealers. And Liam Neeson's character's son gets killed, and he sparks a war between the two factions. That's basically the short of it. This movie is really weird. And if anyone has ever seen a movie called The Boondock Saints, it follows along the same lines of that. It's got a lot of very dark humor in it and a lot of action that's kind of weird and disjointed. Now, I personally like this film, and I'm going to get to why. But some people did, some people didn't. So I'm going to give you my pros, my cons, and whether or not I personally think you should see this movie now. If you disagree with my review, that's okay. Leave it in the comments below and let me know what you thought of the movie as well. So, pros for this film. I thought the settings were beautiful. The filming and the cinematography was gorgeous to see. The mountains and the way the water flowed down the mountains, the way the snow hit the ground, and how they shot everything was just amazing to behold. It gave me a real sense of what this town was. The other thing I liked is what they did with the characters. It played on a lot of stereotypes, and I think that may turn people off, but to me, it was making fun of the typical action movie stereotypes that we see. You had the Italians with the over Italian accent. You had the Native Americans with the solidarity. Some of them brought casinos, things like that. It almost poked fun of typical stereotypes that we see in these kinds of movies. And I respected it for it. There was a hilarious scene, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it doesn't spoil the movie. But there's a hilarious scene where the Native Americans kill an Italian and they look at each other and they're like, who's going to bury the body? And one guy looks at the other one. He's like, I'm not doing it. The other guy looks at the other one and goes, I'm not doing it. They look at the Native American girl and she says, have the Indian do it. And it's literally an Indian cab driver. And I don't know why. I just started laughing. I just found it so funny that it was self aware of the typical stereotypes that we have as individuals. Liam Neeson does a great role. I wouldn't say it was on the level of Taken, but he's still very believable. And also, the movie, if you watch it really closely, parallels being a father, which maybe my bias for it is that message that it conveys. You have three different father type figures. You have Liam Neeson, you have the guy of the Italian mob, and then you have the Native American. And they all intersect. And I don't want to tell you how, but they all intersect. And if you watch the movie closely, everything comes for full circle. And it really shows the difficulties that these parents have, the way they all failed, and the result of their failure, and how each of their failures led to this ultimate mess that everyone got into. The cops are stupidly funny. Like, they make them dumb, but kind of like in a Fargo way. Like, they're dumb, but not really dumb. You know, you have the one female cop, kind of like in Fargo, who's intelligent, and you have the one older male cop who knows what's going on, but he kind of wants to overlook it. I mean, it had a lot of clever stuff in it. And I think if people Don't go in expecting to see a Taken the Gray kind of movie, but you go in expecting to see a weird, quirky kind of action film, you'll enjoy this movie. I can tell you, unlike my last review, and check it out for that boring movie, The Prodigy, this one kept me invested. Like from the first moment that Liam Neeson gets on screen, there's a lot of upbeat action. It's intense. I think like three people die in the first 5 minutes of the film, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. You never see an action movie that just like goes right into it. And that comes from the guy who made Taken, made this film, the producer. And you can feel where he took a lot of those influences. He wanted you to be really engaged in the action, and then the story kind of creeps in. And really, if you didn't like the film, I would invite you to go back and really watch it. Now, the cons of this film, there's a lot of flat characters. The villain was well acted, but kind of fell short for me. He was very, I don't know, mustache twirling kind of blah, like over the top. And I don't know if they did it on purpose, but he's very over the top evil. I think the secondary villains were much better. I think that some people who got killed off were far more interesting, and I would have liked them to explore that. Um, Also, too, I think that the storytelling is so disjointed that if you're a casual moviegoer, it doesn't pay off until you watch it all come together. So if you get lost within the first 5 or 10 minutes of this movie, or even 20 minutes of the film, it's gonna kind of lose you. And the very ending, I think a lot of people are gonna have a problem with the ending because it doesn't end how you expect it to. It's not a typical action movie ending, but I think for this film it fits. If you look at the overall movie and you see what the message is, it fits to why it ends the way it ends, and I respected it for it. And honestly, this movie was not like anything I've seen portrayed. So, I mean, I personally loved it, and I think if you like those kind of little subtle movies, you'll enjoy this film. If you're a hardcore action person and you're expecting a die hard kind of action ending, you're not going to get it. So don't even bother seeing it. But if you want a weird, um, darkly humored, very just hard to describe type of film, something that may get you to think, something you may have to watch more than a few times to get, then this is a movie for you. But without a doubt, you'll enjoy it than most of the stuff that's out. So that's my take on the film. Um, Tomorrow, How to Train Your Dragon comes out, and I will immediately be doing a spoiler free review of that because I am a huge fan of Toothless and I have been looking forward for this film, and it's just going to be epic. At least in my mind, I hope it's going to be. But no animated film so far this year has let me down, which is quite sad. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you think about the movie Cold Pursuit. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are there certain elements that they could have changed? Also, please hit that subscribe button and hit the buzzard below, the little bell, to let you know when I post another video or I go live for a review. And as always, thank you very much to the fans. Hopefully, I'll get a lot more reviews. I think How to Train a Dragon is going to be a really big one that everyone's going to want to know, because this is a pre-screening for Wednesday. I don't think it comes out until like Thursday, so, or Friday.